Hello everybody, Vigo Shadow here, and today is a very important day because we have the new Shadow Festival banner up, and this one's actually a very unique one. It is Rivals in Sync, Blue Attacker, both Epsilon and Beta, which I find to be very, very weird in how this unit will go because you can swap between the two, and that is the biggest gimmick of this banner. So let's just get right into it and see what happens. I'm very curious to find out all the different parts of this unit, and as you can see, I did go for a lot of gems. Had to pity. It was terrible, but, we just move on. Let's move right into it. So, here is the artwork right here. Not bad. You have two of the Shadow Festival units right there. And we go, let's just check out the max stats right away. We have power to healing boost there, and then we have healing boost to overheal. And there is their grouping with a new grouping called Tag. Now, with that, it makes me wonder if there's going to be more of these tag units, and if that's the case, then that opens the door to um, a lot of rival units. So we have Epsilon and Beta here. Maybe we might see a Zeta and Delta rivals in sync. Maybe a similar unit like that in the future, if which is pretty exciting to think about because there could be a lot of pairings that there could be. So I'm very interested to see the skills. Let's go back to initial here and go to the skills. Alright, so let's get into the hidden technique right off the bat, Concierto, or Concerto, or something like that. Either way, right off the bat we have like a little bit of a paragraph here, so raises the attack of all allies by 30% for 10 seconds. Now, and then further raises crit rate by 100% for 10 seconds if blue elemental. So, honestly, right off the bat, that is really, really OP. I'm absolutely shocked because 30% attack is really good on its own, and then you're having all your allies pull off crits for 10 seconds if it's blue. That is crazy. You know what that means is that you can save this type of unit to um, activate this hidden technique first, and then everybody else's hidden technique will be crit, which is absolutely insane. That means you're probably going to be hitting damage cap on all your units. So right off right off the bat with that skill alone, that pretty much makes it worth the pull, which is absolutely crazy. I just can't fathom it. But let's just keep reading because the unit, it seems, gets better. That alone, that hidden technique is very OP right off the bat. And then we further inflict 1,500% damage on all enemies. I mean, this is absolutely cracked. I mean, you have a 3 in 1, and then further inflicts 25% damage multiplied by all allies' total sound seal. Now, this sound seal is a different type of status affliction that this unit actually brought to the table. So I'm going to go ahead and explain Sound Seal right now because I'm sure that the rest of the moves somehow funnel into the status effect. So yeah, let me just pull up what it means. Okay, so we have two types of seals, and I'm sure, so we have Sound Seal and then we have Word Seal, which I'm sure is going to be by both, because Epsilon will be able to pull off the Sound Seal, whereas Beta is going to be pulling off the Word Seal. Now, with the sound seal, you're changing the power of the skill based on the number of sound seal stacked, and then for the word seal, you're doing the exact same thing. So depending on how many stacks you have, it's going to change the power of the skill. So it's as simple as they come. There's no value on it, so um, it's it's dependent on what the skill says for that. So yeah. Alright, so back to the skill. Now, further inflicts 25% damage multiplied by all allies' total sound seal. So, yep, so it's going to take at least 4 stacks of it to bring 100% more damage. Now, I'm not sure how much sound seals this unit can stack, but we're about to see. Let's just take a look what this looks like awakened. So we actually have a jump that goes from 1,500 to 2,000, and then we get 50% more, so twice the amount of damage per the stack. So it's going to take, instead of 4 stacks to do 100 damage, it's only going to take 2, which is pretty good. So that's actually noteworthy because of the damage there. So that is pretty good. As far as the damage goes on this hidden technique, it's it's very standard for sure. But the thing is about it is that it attacks all enemies, so it's very good for waves, for sure. All right, moving on to the next skill is Fuoco. If I pronounce that right. Either way, right off the bat, I see speed, and the speed is so good, so good. All right, so raises speed of all allies by 20% for 20 seconds. That is going to be crucial, very good. We're also inflicting weakness, 150% of skill users' attack on a single enemy. So to explain weakness over defense is that weakness is going to specifically tie into um, your unit's attack. That's why it says 150% of skill users' attack. So it's going to be hurting the enemies based on the user's attack and not. And then if they are weakened by defense, that's going to be huge. But weakness is way stronger than like putting their defense down. So that's pretty good on a single enemy with the highest attack for 10 seconds. So it's only on a single enemy, but still it's going to target the highest attacker, so you're going to get them out, which is really good for PvP, and it's still going to be good on bosses. Essentially, it's good all around because of the speed factor for sure, and then further inflicts 300% damage. The damage is standard, but this is a 3-in-1 skill. The speed is so crucial. Speed is such a good status effect for sure, along with weakness, two really strong ones. So the skill 1 is looking very good. When this is awakened, it's a significant jump due to the speed factor. We have 20% more speed and only 100% more damage. The damage, not really. You don't pay attention to that. It's not really that important. It's just 100 more. So the biggest thing here is that 20% increase, which is very good. And then we have Expressivo, which is raises the attack of all allies by 20% for 15 seconds, further cancels all debuff effects, inflicts 150% damage on all enemies. So this is another one that attacks all enemies, which I really like that for their skill, like in the skill 1s and 2s, so that's really good. So not only are you raising the speed for 20 seconds, you're also raising the attack of all allies by 20% as well. And if we go back to this hidden technique, you're raising it by 30% as well. So if you combine the two, you actually have a total of 50% attack. So if you synergize this Expressivo with the hidden technique, you're going to achieve 50% attack increase, and on top of that, you're going to be doing crits. So just if you add that up, that's easily going to hit the damage cap, I'm sure, depending on some of the units you're running. It's going to look very strong, and it's going to be really good. Let's see what this looks like awakened here. We actually have a 20% jump, which is exponential. We go from 50% attack if you synergize it all to 70% with an extra 20 if you synergize both the hidden technique and the skill. The damage is very weak because it's only a 30% increase, but the status effect of attack on all allies makes it worth it. Now let's check out the special ability, which I'm probably gonna like, but we'll see. We'll see. Rivals in Sync. We have at the start of the wave. Already, this is really good. Raises attack of all allies by 20% for the whole wave, 60 seconds. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just raising the base attack of all your allies for 20% for the whole wave at the start. That's absolutely insane. Not to mention, I kind of skipped over the fact that there was a cleansing move in Expressivo, so you're canceling all debuff effects, all of them. There's no limit to that. It cancels them all. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, this unit is looking very, very good right off the bat, and it's been we've seen some pretty good Shadow Festival units, but I'm starting to think this one's going to take the cake by a lot, by a long shot. So, um, let's see here. Each time a buff is granted by self, so you have to have them do the buffing. You can't have other people feeding into this. You're granting the sound seal on self for 60 seconds. So that buff won't go away, or the sound seals won't go away, so that's going to be pretty good. So as you can see, it's going to keep stacking throughout the wave. So, but this is right away. So each time a buff is granted by self, you're going to grant that sound seal. And she does it quite a few times. She raises the attack, so I'm not sure if that feeds into the first buff right there. Then we have another one, Expressivo raises the attack, which is also a buff. So that's another stack. So that's probably 2 stacks right there. Speed of all allies is a 3rd stack. And then this one is also another stack. Probably 4, 5. We hit 5 stacks after this. But we don't. But before that, we hit 3 stacks, and we're getting either 150 with the Awakened form, or we're hitting 75% damage multiplied by all allies total. Okay, so all allies. So it's not the self one. So I don't see it. I don't see it on her special ability where she is casting Sound Seal on the allies. So either way, but we have 1 stack of Sound Seal on self and then 1 stack of the Word Seal on self. I would assume the buffs for herself is going to feed into this, but it says all allies, which I've been told, I've been corrected, so this is still going to work. It's still going to work. It's still going to be feeding into that, which is absolutely amazing. I don't know how much potential that really does have with the stacks of Sound Seal and Word Seal, but I mean, it does leave room for potential. So let's check out the strike combo as well for this character. So it inflicts 75, or basic combo stuff for an attacker, and then we have raises damage inflicted for all allies by 20% for 5 seconds, which is really, really good because essentially there's a lot of potential for synergizing here, but essentially what you're going to do is you're going to hit your 5 strike combo, then you're going to go into your hidden technique for this character, and then you're going to go into everybody else's hidden technique because their attacks are going to be raised. They're going to have 100% crit, and they're going to have damage inflicted for all allies on top of like speed as well. Absolutely crazy. I see so much potential for this unit, and we're not even done with it. That's the amazing part. We have a normal attack, which is just standard 100 if you count up all the total. And then we're not gonna check out this link gear yet because we're switching. So we have left and we have right. So it actually changes the normal attack hit, which is kind of weird here. So you go from a 3 hit to a 2 hit, which I kind of find a little weird why they changed that. Now let's check out this combo effect. Instead of damage inflicted for all allies, you are now looking at damage received for all enemies for 20%. Still really good. No matter which side you have for the strike combo, it changes it. I find this absolutely insane because, as you can see, all these abilities are now changed. This is essentially 2 Shadow Festival units in 1. Absolutely blows my mind. But the first one, all those moves that you just seen are extremely good. And when you activate it said in the advertisement, if you activate the hidden technique, you switch. So from there you switch. I think you start with Epsilon and then you switch to Beta. So let's just check out Beta's moves here. Let me just switch back. It's going to be Cover Fire instead. So right off the bat, you're lowering defense of all enemies by 60% for 10 seconds. Absolutely crazy. That is a significant debuff. I mean, lowering the defense by 60%, absolutely insane. It leaves so much room for your other units to attack that unit. You're either buffing up your whole party with Epsilon, or you're doing the reverse with Beta, which means you're debuffing the hell out of enemies, which can prove to be very, very, very good. So we have lowers defense of all enemies by 60% for 10 seconds, further raises the damage received by 30% for 10 seconds if it's red elemental, inflicts 1,500% damage on all enemies, same amount, same standard there, but we have that again. So you're lowering the defense and then you're further raising the damage received by 30%. So it's two major debuffs in one on that specific enemy, which, like, I'd say I prefer betas, like, increasing the attack on all allies, but essentially you're almost doing the same thing but in reverse and using it as a debuff. So either way you slice it, it's very, very good. And then we have the same thing, but this is based on word seal instead of the sound seal for this move for sure. So just to keep that in mind when we have this awakened. I thought they were gonna go for some crazy value, but I forgot they only changed the damage inflicted on all enemies, and then also the 50% for the seal technique there. So, and a good thing with these hidden techniques is that they're all gonna chain. The hidden techniques, skill 1, skill 2, the Awakening roadmap is going to change both units at the same time with their Awakening roadmap. So getting this unit to A5 is like having two Shadow Festival units at A5. But it's combined into one unit now, and there is a switch mechanic, so you got to factor that in. But still absolutely crazy. Let's check out her skill 1 at the triple shot there. Inflicts weakness, so both do weakness, which is very, very good, and it's for the same amount, 150% of the skill user's attack. And I think weakness is going to actually hit a hell of a lot harder with beta. And the reason why I say this is the fact that you're lowering their defense for one, and then you're raising the damage inflicted on them, and then you're throwing weakness on top of them. They're going to be weak as shit. So that's going to be absolutely great to see that. And then we had this random little 3-hit combo there, which pretty much just totals up to 200% on, or no, it doesn't. It's just 150%, which is not as good as the other one, because the other one had 300% damage instead of this one that is at just a measly 200. So it's not that bad, really. Like I said, this unit's not really for damage factor. It's more for, like, buffing and debuffing the shit out of either enemies or your team, which is so crucial. This will be good in a lot of situations. Further lowers the attack by 10% for 10 seconds. So you're also lowering their attack to defend yourself as well, which is nice. It is pretty nice that there is that too. That's like a 4-in-1 skill for a lot of these. I was saying that 3-in-1 was like a big thing, but this is 4-in-1. Like, what's next? Like, I could just see the Shadow Festival units in the future being like 5-in-1, 6-in-1. Like, the power creep is very real on this for sure. And then when you awaken this, all that really changes here is the damage and then lowers the attack. So this is not, triple shot is not really good. So the skill 1 is not really good for beta side, at least, I'm gonna have to say. But we have Bomb Shower next, so let's check that out as another attacking skill. And then we have, it's a 2-hit, so it is, let's see what this looks like awakened here. 90-90, that's so weird. So the damage factor does not hit above 200%, so let's just say that. So it's lower than 200%. So it's not as good, but when you take all the buffs into consideration, you're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. In fact, these units are to support other units. They're not standalone, high-hitting damage units. So just to point that out for sure. The damage is is subpar, not good, but the buffs that they're able to pull off are extremely good. Also, you're lowering their accuracy by 50, or it goes to 50% for 5 seconds, but it's only 5 seconds, so that really doesn't matter. This is probably the weakest thing in her kit. Besides, okay, well, let me finish here. Further cancels all buff effects. Now that's insane, because I know a lot of enemies that just throw a bunch of buffs on themselves, and it's just super hard to crack through them. So with Beta's side, you're able to really put on the punishment on these units, which is very, very nice, because I'd rather be able to take away all the buffs than do a cleanse with Epsilon. A cleanse is nice, but taking away all the enemy's buffs is so much better. So much better. Okay, so the next thing here is we're gonna go past Bomb Shower here, and we're gonna be going on to this special ability, which is called Rivals in Sync, same thing. But at the start of the wave, you're lowering defense of all enemies by 20% for 60 seconds. So that is pretty good because you get an advantage right off the bat with that 20% lower of the enemies, and that's for the whole time. That's for the whole time, so that's pretty good. But I prefer Epsilon's or like attack increase on all your allies for 20%. I love that a hell of a lot more than this one for sure, but it still gives like the early jump and then it keeps it for the whole wave, which is nice. So you're going to be doing a lot of damage with that. No matter where you start, either Epsilon or Beta, I'm actually going to be doing some gameplay since I did decide to pull for this unit to see how it kind of operates. So we're going to see that. I think in the battle screen you might be able to switch between them. This is just a very unique unit. But essentially, what I like about this part is the fact that each time a debuff is inflicted by self, which I don't understand that. So when you're debuffing yourself, you grant word seal on self for 60 seconds. Now, depending on how if it was this typo or not, I don't know, because essentially what it should say, what I think it should say, is that each time you get a debuff, you're granting word seal. Now, if that's the case, I think that'd be very good on quite a few enemies, and you might be able to do a lot off of that seal technique. I could see that playing out pretty well. But I'm also wondering, if you're able to switch the characters with this hidden technique, are all these skill 1s and skill 2 going to feed into each other? Now, if that's the case, this just blows everything out of the water and is an immediate... in my opinion, I think this is already like high excellent, if not god tier. I'm probably going to just say god tier units right off the bat, just based on what I've read so far, being absolutely crazy. And it's like, if this is in god tier right now, if you're able to switch units and then also pull off this weird Rivals in Sync twice with lowers the defense next, that's just going to be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But a good thing to note is on Beta side, you're not increasing the speed, so it's probably going to be more favorable to start in Epsilon and maybe end with Beta. Now that I finally got through everything there, let's go ahead and check out the linked gear, which I am very curious in, because I'm wondering if it's a dual linked gear or something. Like, if it's Epsilon, then this happens, and if it's Beta, then this happens. So let's just check it out. I'm very curious. So, right off the bat, we have every 10 seconds after the start of the wave, raises the attack of all allies by 1% multiplied by allies total sound seal stacked for 10 seconds. And this is every 10 seconds after the start of the wave. So you're going to get that a total of 5 times, I believe, and you're raising it by some sort of percentage there. And then it's also lowering the attack of all enemies by 1% multiplied by allies total word seal stacked for 10 seconds. Now, I don't know how much word seal and how much sound seal they can really churn out, but I am very curious to see that in action. I don't know how well. The link gear seems like it's kind of weak based on that low percentage, but I mean, if we're on Epsilon side where it's raises the attack, it's going to feed into all that other attack stacks, and it's going to be very good, I think. So I'd say the gear is kind of mid, but everything else is super good. Now let's go ahead and check away the Awakening roadmap right off the bat, and it's going to be a lot of flipping between the two. So we have this skill 2, which is not good on Beta's side, but it is very good on Epsilon side with the raised attack by 20% more. So that's a very considerable buff. So in essence, your Awakening 1 is good and bad. So just take that into consideration there. Awakening 2 is the speed by 20% value, which is good. And then this one is the further lowers the attack, so it's not as good. So it's good and bad again for the Awakening roadmap there. Concerto, the hidden techniques are both at 3, which both hidden techniques are very, very good, so that's good to have her at A3 as well. A4 is the magic gear slot, which I wish it was tucked way back, way, way, way back at A5, but A5, of course, is going to be the best. So you're either lowering the defense by 40% or you're raising the attack of allies by 30% for the whole wave. And, yeah, you're going to be doing either more attack or lowering more defense, which is nice. It is very, very nice. Now that I've done all that, we're going to actually dip our toes in the water in a little bit of World Tree to see how these two kind of operate. Alright, so I did have that little issue with my game volume, but you should be able to hear it now. So this is kind of how it works right here. As you can see, there is a switch button for the character right here. So you can switch from Epsilon to Beta. And supposedly, when you do switch, when they do their ultimate, they should be switching from like Epsilon to Beta or Beta to Epsilon. So we're gonna see if we could do that. Keep in mind I have to run a weaker party here because I was slaying this thing. So we're running it a little bit weaker, and we'll see if we can pull off that hidden technique so you're able to see that. As you can see, okay, so let me break it down actually. So as you can see, there's a bunch of stacks here, which is like speed, and this is also coming from Shiri as well. So just keep that in mind. Look at how many stacks there is of sound. So that's 25 stacks. We're gonna go ahead. I did get stunned here, so it's gonna sting a little bit. It's gonna hurt. But there is a lot of sound stacks right here. We have 36 right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. So 36 stacks right here, and they 40 stacks, and we're only 30 seconds. We're 30 seconds in. 44 stacks. Now we're gonna go ahead and use their hidden technique here. Which does a considerable amount of damage there. Let's see. She is switched out, so you can see there's Beta here. Now Beta is in battle, and then the debuffs do not run the same, so the rivals do not stack on top of each other. That's a lot of damage that she's able to pull off. And then as you can see, there's the ward stacks. The ward stacks were starting to come up. Now I was able to run a better team for this. As you can see, let's just dip our toes into the damage report here. She is only at rank 7, so I do not have her leveled up all the way, whereas Sid is rank 12 here. So to put that into consideration, I mean, there's a big difference. If I ran Delta, if I ran Delta and the Master Shadow, it changes a whole lot. It really changes. I was able to obliterate it before I was even able to hit out my hidden technique there. So, which brings me back to the banner to should I pull? And I'm going to say immediately, yes, go ahead. This is a god tier unit, no doubt, and it's really a no-brainer because you have essentially what you have is 2 Shadow Festival units in one. I mean, and then I think the annoying thing is the only possible annoying thing is switching them. And like, let's say you want Epsilon for all that attack, and then you keep wanting those multiple attack stacks. It's nice, but I mean, the potential for double dipping is also there, so you can actually lower their defense with Beta. Like, you're gonna get all these attack buffs from Epsilon, and then that's gonna transfer over when you switch into Beta, and Beta is gonna be lowering their defense. So if you think about that, you either pick one: the enemies get lower defense the whole time, or your allies get attacked the whole time. And then whatever switches over, you know, then there's going to be either the attack or the defense lowering buffs and weakness and all that stuff still present. So no matter how you slice it, It is a very, very good unit that opens the door for so much damage potential. It does a lot of damage on its own, despite not having the greatest damage, like, values. It's a lot of what there is to pull. And as you can see, we actually had a lot of stacks, like a shit ton of stacks, for the word or the sound, the let's see here, the sound seals. We had like 60 sound seals. So 60 sound seals really translates to, if we had it like at 50 for the awakened, like 60, or well, it was close to 60. Let's just say 30 sound seals, right? 30 sound seals would equate to ooh, math here. Let's see. So if it was 10, okay, let's see, 10 sound seals, it would be 500. So another 1,500 for the damage. Further inflicts, so that's absolutely insane. It's multiplied by all allies' total sound seal as well, which should just be yourself, because I didn't see sound seal or word seal stacked on anybody else. So because those sound seals and word seals are stacking only onto you for the damage factor, and then this link gear also changes it. So if we had this at max, right? So 60 or 30 sound seals, we have raised attack of all allies by like 30% of all allies' total sound seal. So what I thought was a bad piece of magic gear, now that's the thing, you don't know. It could be either good or bad, and I said this was mid. I'm immediately changing that because if we're able to raise the attack of all allies by 30% and lower the attack of all enemies by 30%, either or, so it'd probably be more beneficial for Epsilon to start for sure. So you can get 30% multiply for. I mean, it's only for 10 seconds. It's every 10 seconds after the start of the wave. So you're raising the attack of all allies for 10 seconds. And then that's happening for 10 seconds. So essentially it's the whole damn wave. But you have to wait the first 10 seconds. Based on the amount of sound seal. So you're going to keep getting sound seal. So it's going to go like maybe 10%, then 20, then 30, and then at the end of the wave you're looking at very high amounts of damage. And if you save the Concierto at the end, it's going to be you're going to absolutely obliterate. You are going to obliterate with that move. So it might be not worth not switching right away, or it might. Either way, there is so much potential here, and it would be terrible to pass up on this banner, because this is very, very good for the blue teams. That's all I gotta say. Otherwise, I'll keep rambling on. Hopefully, those examples in World Tree were a little bit better. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. Vigo, signing off.